Today we're in Bard, California, and we're going to be checking out the Cloud Museum, home of probably the largest Model T collection in the world. Hey everyone, Steve with Sidetrack Adventures here. So right now I'm in the Cloud Museum in Bard, California, and there is quite a bit to take in here. As you can see, there are just cars everywhere. I'm really looking forward to taking a look around this place. Apparently there's some buildings that we can go in and check out as well, and there's an old 1931 motorhome to check out. And I mean, there's just a ton of stuff here. I mean, I don't know how we can even take this all in, but let's walk around the museum and see what we could find. The Cloud Museum is located right on Highway S24, about 10 miles north of Winterhaven, California. Even though we're not that far from the interstate, we saw hardly any other cars on the road on our drive out here, and I believe we are the only visitors here at the museum at the moment. Here's the museum sign mentioning that this is probably the largest collection of Model Ts in the world. In addition to the Model Ts, here's a listing of some of the other things we'll get to see here. Alright, so let's head on in and see what there is to see here at the Cloud Museum. The alarm is to alert the caretaker that somebody's on the property, and probably to also make sure that we pay our admission, which is $10. Wow, there is a lot to take in here. I'm not even sure where to start. I imagine if you're into Model Ts, you could probably spend hours here. So this museum hosts the collection of Johnny Cloud, who's a longtime resident of Bard, California. Mr. Cloud started the collection in 1989, and now it contains hundreds of vehicles, as you can see. I'm not a big car guy, but I know the Model T was made by Ford from 1908 to 1927, and was really one of the first affordable cars that the average person could actually afford. These cars changed the world. Check out this replica Texaco gas station that we're heading towards. I guess all these cars have to fuel up somewhere. This is pretty cool. I love how it's period accurate too, as I believe Texaco started using this logo in the 1920s. At the gas station they have a 1930s motorhome, which is probably pretty appropriate because I imagine these motorhomes did not get much in the way of gas mileage. Let's take a look inside and see what 1930s RV life was like. Of course, this doesn't compare to today's RVs, but for 1930, I imagine this was living in style. Here's a sink, so it looks like they had running water, but the one thing I haven't seen yet is a bathroom. Maybe they hadn't figured out how to do a septic tank yet. This is pretty neat. I don't think I've ever been in a 1930s motorhome before, and I'm not sure that I even realized that motorhomes had been around as long as they had. Here's a collection of old gas pumps on the side of the gas station. Wow, check out the back wheels on this old truck. I don't know enough about cars to distinguish, say, a 1914 from a 1926 Model T, so I really can't say what most of these are, as there are no signs. The caretaker on the property did tell me there are some restored cars in the barns that we could check out, so I'm going to start heading that direction. So there are actually more buildings to look through here than I thought. So I guess we'll start out here at Cloud's Mercantile. Wow, there is a lot of random stuff in here. When I was a kid, my grandfather had an old joke book, and one of the jokes was somebody asking a store if they had Prince Albert in a can, then telling them to let him out. And I never got that joke until years later. Here's the meat grinder section of the museum. Pretty nice stained glass window here. This place has pretty much everything but the kitchen sink. I was really hoping there would be a kitchen sink down here. You want to see old boat motors? This place has old boat motors. So this building is just labeled antiques. So let's take a look inside and see what's in here. There's some more cars. These ones actually have signs on them, but they don't appear to be in much better condition than the ones outside. Oh wow, check out this room. This looks like something out of a movie. And I'm talking a horror movie. If you see someone enter a room like this in a movie, something bad is going to happen. Hopefully not in this video though. Alright, it's time to get out of this room before Freddy Krueger shows up or something. Here's a post office replica. Supposedly most of the stuff in this building is actually taken from the old Bard post office. Here's some old P.O. boxes. We got some wanted posters on the wall. Here's the safe. And the office. This building isn't labeled. Let's see what we have in here. And it looks like it's a home. Maybe some office stuff. Just kind of a random mix of things in here. The kitchen shelf. We've finally come to a building with some cars in it, so let's head on in there. Yeah, and these ones are definitely in a lot better condition than the ones outside. So there's at least 10 cars in here. A few other random odds and ends as well. Some penny farthing bicycles. This one's from 1914. I think it looks great for being over 100 years old, but when I see old cars like this, it definitely makes me thankful for today's modern cars. Marvin Memorial's cemetery lettering. That's pretty interesting. This room has quite a few restored cars in it. Gas pumps too. One thing I really like doing is taking a look at the informational signs on the cars and seeing what the original purchase price was. Like this 1926 Model T was $850 new, which is just amazing to think about. Now I know $850 was probably a lot of money in 1926, but still to think that you can buy a new car for $850 is pretty crazy. Quite a few baby carriages in here as well. Here's an old school bus. There is so much stuff here. This is a pretty amazing collection of items that show what life was like in the early part of the last century. If you're into this sort of thing, especially if you're into Model Ts, and you find yourself near Bard, California, the Cloud Museum is worth a stop. Just be prepared to spend way more time here than you thought you would. So that's our look at Bard, California's Cloud Museum. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and we'll see you next week.